Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Ask an Expert. And what a way to start a Saturday morning. I am so overjoyed to be joined here by the one and only Betsy Steiner. And Betsy, thank you so much for taking the time. We are so excited to cover this topic of the Olympic dressage coming up here in just like a week and a half.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. I'm very excited to cover this because I think it's one of the most exciting Olympics ever. I mean, I'm thrilled to be talking about it and answer any questions.
Wonderful. Well, we know you're a wealth of knowledge on this topic, and so we will dive right in here. But if you're attending live and you're on the YouTube, as always, feel free to put any questions that you have for Betsy in chat, and I will relay those to her. And just to start, I'll give a very brief overview or background on Betsy, but I know we're all very familiar with her, so that's not really all that necessary, but I want to make sure to cover all our bases, and then we will dive in. But I'm really excited to sit down with Betsy. Betsy has an incredibly distinguished career spanning 4 decades. In addition to running an active training program, authoring numerous articles and a book, she has represented the U.S. at the World Equestrian Games and coached people to the Olympics, which is just incredible in and of itself. Betsy has served on numerous committees, including the Athletes Active Advisory Council to the U.S. Olympic Committee, and most recently serves on several USEF committees. So, Betsy, you are so qualified to cover the topic of the Paris Olympics and dressage. And let's just start by diving into do you mind just sharing a bit about like the background of the Olympics for the sport of dressage and kind of what you kind of think this means to the sport?
Yes, I think, well, the Olympics is something grand. It's something bigger than anything. And for an athlete, that's the epitome of being your best. Once you're an Olympic athlete, you're forever an Olympian. And that gives you something special and extraordinary. Also, too, I think that the Olympians have their role models. And I think that when you look at an Olympian, people look up to that person. And so it's quite a heavy, not a heavy burden, but quite a thing to have in your life and carry through in life. So I think that's very special. I think equestrian sport has been part of the Olympics since 1912. Dressage team competition was introduced in 1928. Women were allowed to ride in 1953. Now, when it first started, there was the dressage arena, and at the end of the arena, they had judges. There were 5 judges on a long table at the end of the arena, and that's how it first started. Now, today, we know there are the 5 judges around the arena. In a competition like in Aachen, they have little scoreboards down outside so that the audience can see every score from every judge for every movement. And so it's so sophisticated now. And it's just, I mean, it's amazing how far we've come. When you think about when it first started and that there were only men and they were cavalry and military men, to now where there's so many fierce women in the sport and great horses. Also, I think a very interesting thing is looking, men and women compete equally. Stallions and mares. So there's stallions, mares, and geldings. And if we look at how now there's so many mares than there have been before. So I think all of those things are extremely interesting. This year in Paris, there are 30 nations competing, 15 teams, and another 15 are fielding individuals. So there are 60 horse athlete combinations. So there used to be 4, and the low score would be a dropout score. Now all 3 count, and there's the alternate. There's a traveling alternate rider. This person is extremely important because should anything happen, that person will train exactly like everybody else. They'll be ready. And can you imagine the the pins and needles that person's sitting on, knowing I might have to go in, I might have to go in, where the other ones know I'm going in. So that person they have to be able to rely on that one. And I think every one of them has nerves of steel. Little thing I think is extremely interesting is at this level, these horses and riders are so good and they're so prepared and experienced that on a given day, any one of them could be the winner, especially like at the top, because the points are so close. So it's the mental preparation. It's the Benjamin Vendel said an interesting thing. He said, talking about mental health, he said, it's really mental strength. And I thought that's a beautiful way to put that, because it is your mental strength at the time. Prepare, how do you focus? How do you go into that amazing arena and know Olympics, I represent my team? Being a team member is quite a bit different than going to a horse show by yourself. And, you're part of the team of your barn and everything, but representing your country is an entirely different situation, because now you're one of a whole. So people are counting on you, and you're counting on them. So you want them to do really well. You feel like, okay, I owe it to everybody to do my best, to keep my horse the best. And it's a great, but a very different experience. I think we need to look a little bit at how the medals are determined at the Olympics. So it's a little bit confusing, because there's the Grand Prix, there's the special, and the freestyle. So the top 8 teams, a total of 24 combinations, assuming there isn't a tie for 8th place, will ride the Grand Prix special. All of the teams, or all of the riders, will ride the Grand Prix. That's over 2 days. So at the end of that, the top 8 teams go. The Grand Prix itself is a qualification for the special for the teams. So everybody's, looking at scores, and it's very, very exciting. There's a Grand Prix special, for anyone who might not be familiar with it, is very much like the Grand Prix, except it's a little bit more condensed. It's a little bit faster paced movements. For example, one of the difficult movements is you come down the center line, do a pirouette right away at D, do 9 ones, and then a pirouette again. So that's difficult. The degree of difficulty is brought up 1 notch. So, and at that place, the whole thing is quite difficult. So at the end of that, it's also interesting that the riders must submit music to be played during their ride. It's not judged, and that's for the special. They play music for the Grand Prix, that's like predetermined, but you choose your music for the special. Not to be judged, but it's like your background music. So you can do that, and it can't be too fancy, and there's no words and things like that, but it's very interesting, the music that people will choose for that, and very, very important. The results of the Grand Prix special determine the team medals. So you've got the Grand Prix, and now those horses that the teams, the 24 combinations that came into the special, are the ones that are going to determine the medals for the teams. So all 3 of the rider scores are counting for the final result. No scores are carried forward from the Grand Prix. So
wow, sorry, Betsy, to interrupt you. That's so interesting. So I just want to make sure that I'm following correctly. So the first 2 days of competition are the Grand Prix, and every rider is going to participate in the Grand Prix, and that's where you were saying, like, they don't bring their own music, like they're just riding through the test, and that's just a qualifying round. So there's no medal associated with that round.
Exactly. So if you look at Grand Prix, that's so important, so special, because that's going to qualify you for the special and for your team. So, and then when you figure there's 24 combinations, those just 24 combinations out of all of those that are going to make it into the special. Okay. So
And
that's
is it the same test they're doing in the Grand Prix and the Grand Prix special?
no. So the Grand Prix stands alone. So it's the Grand Prix, that's that test. And then the special, the Grand Prix special is a different test, has all of the same that the Grand Prix has, but in a different combination of things. For example, in the Grand Prix special, there's a lot of, you go across the diagonal, and then there's a big sweep, one single half pass, and then you start passage, and then from passage to extension alongside, back to passage. So it's a different test. It's interesting to look that test up, or when you watch it, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch it for the Olympics, you'll see that it's quite a different test pattern, but all the same movements. And some horses are better doing that test. So a horse that's really good in passage and extensions and has a beautiful fancy trot can get really good scores from that. So a nice forward free passage extension. So it's very, very interesting to watch.
Totally. And
Yeah.
Betsy, just to sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, that's okay.
I am getting a little bit of a connection issue with you. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you. The connection on the video is a little bit spotty, but that's okay. As long as we can hear you. I just want to make sure that you can still hear me.
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, I will let you know if it becomes an issue. But okay, so the first 2 days are the Grand Prix, and then that's a qualifying round for the Grand Prix special. And the Grand Prix special is what determines the team medals.
Right.
What about the people who are attending as individuals? Are they participating in all of this as well?
Yes. So that's a good question. So they're no, because they wouldn't do that. So they've got to be part of a team. Okay, then if their scores are high enough, then the top 18 combinations from the Grand Prix special. So wait a minute. So that's a good question. So I don't know about that for sure. Really good question. We need to find out about that, because then you've got like Julio Mendoza with his horse, Gold Strike. That's a great combination, and we don't want to leave them out. But I don't know, because I know the top 18 combinations from the Grand Prix special then go forward to the freestyle. So let me find that out for sure. And I'll
we'll
get
find
back to
out.
you.
We'll put it. We'll make a
Yeah.
note of it after the fact. But then
I know,
it just underlines how complex all of this is, how the way it's structured.
Right. Yeah. Because then when you go into the freestyle, now it's a whole new ball game. There's a day of rest after the special, so the horses get a little rest. Riders then have to submit a floor plan for the test. So it's not a freestyle that you go willy-nilly, I'm going to do this now. You have to submit a complex floor plan. Also too, like when you're watching and you see on the TV, there's the score and the running score, and then there's letters DOD. That means for degree of difficulty. So there's a mark for degree of difficulty in a movement. So that maybe you choose a movement that's a 9 degree of difficulty. Then if you hit that, that's really good for you. That ups the score, because then your degree of difficulty goes up in the general scores. Riders have to submit the floor plan. Then the freestyle is a combination of the floor plan set to music, so the music of their choice, what they feel is the best for their horse, with a list of required movements. So, for example, if somebody degree of difficulty could be a double pirouette. If you do more than double, you can't do that. That's a penalty. Okay, so they have to stay to the strict requirements of the movements, stay within that, and artists put it together. So you'll see a horse and rider will be very good at something and they really highlight that. Now there's one joker line in the freestyle. So for example, if a horse missed the twos at some point, they have one line to make up a score and get that score higher for that movement, which is very interesting. Additional scores are given for artistic merit and the degree of difficulty. So it's a complex scoring system. I mean, it's really quite involved. And the judging for that, I admire those judges to keep up with everything with it. But the freestyles are something really artistic and beautiful. And it's interesting the choices that the riders make for their horses. I was watching Aachen in the 4-star, and there was a rider, her name is Sandra, so from Poland. Her horse's name is Maxima Bella. And I didn't know much about her, really. And I saw her come in for the freestyle. And I was brought to tears. This horse was so magnificent and so beautiful and loving the music. And the Piaf and Passage was just, it was stunning. It was amazing. And I just, Mare, she was kind of like whistled to the whole song and was so happy. And so it looked so easy. So that's a horse. She's on the Polish team. So hopefully she gets into the freestyle, because it's really a horse to watch. Watch for that one in the Grand Prix, because she's extraordinary. Then Julia came in with Gold Strike, and I thought nobody's going to beat her. So that horse for me was unbelievable. Julio comes in and he does this halt, perfect, stand stock still. And then the first step into trot was extraordinary. And I thought he could have a 12 for that. And the rest of his test was beautiful too. But I mean, it was like the degree of perfection and beauty was just, it was just so exciting. And I thought, gosh, so we have all the superstars in the competition. And then you look at, here comes more superstars coming up. So it's just going to be so exciting and so interesting. And I just think, we're going to love watching it. Plus the venue. Imagine, that's the thing. Imagine being a rider and you ride in front of Versailles. It's like astonishing. It is
astonishing.
What could be better? So
yeah, it's gonna be so beautiful. And I'm like the freestyle, obviously, I mean, I don't know if obviously, but maybe I'm biased. I think the freestyle is just like the most fun to watch. But with like the horses get into it and the music, and it just like really brings out the artistry of the sport. And so the freestyle is the one and only opportunity for individual medals. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that stands alone. Okay. So no scores come forward. That the freestyle stands alone. So the winner of the freestyle wins the individual medal.
And is it all the same judges for all 3 rounds for the Grand Prix Special, and the freestyle?
Yes, I believe so. And I think, but they just change where they're sitting. So
got it.
So the head judge might be at C, next day he might be at B, but I believe it's all the same judges throughout the competition. Also a very good question. Yeah.
I mean, this is a lot. It's a lot to keep track of.
It's a lot.
They really do make it unique at the Olympics.
Yes.
Why do you think, I mean, I guess, I don't know if there's really much of an answer to that, but why do you think that they make it such a unique structure to the way the dressage competition, it works at the Olympics?
Well, I think it works at the Olympics like that. It also works at the big international competitions too. So like in Aachen, it's the same structure. So the horses and riders have had practice doing that. Aachen, I think, stands alone as a competition that's incredible. Fabulous preparation for something like the Olympics. The audience in Aachen is so educated that you can hear them counting the 2s and the 1s, and and if there's a mistake, there's like a through the whole crowd. I mean, that's an amazing venue. And so, so a lot of horses did go to Aachen. They did have a Nations Cup there, and 5-star, and then the 4-star. But it's the same. It's the same layout as the
Okay.
Olympics. So they've gotten used to it.
That's great.
And
That
other
that really
international events as
helps.
well. Yeah. Yeah.
And what like having just had Aachen, kind of was that a good indicator of kind of how the competition could pan out at the Olympics, and what did
Totally.
that show the world? Like who kind of came out of that being like, oh, they're the ones to watch?
So in Aachen, so that was the German team won. German team won. Wait a minute, I have my notes right here. Teams. So Germany won, and that was, they didn't have Jessica on the team. So that was Isabel, Katharina Hemmer, and Ingrid Klimke, and Frederick Wanders. So those, out of those, the team will be Jessica, who I adore her, and Delara, and then Isabel and Frederick are on the team. I believe Ingrid is the traveling reserve. From that, their total team score was 228.73. So they were first. Netherlands was 215.67. But they didn't have all of the Olympic riders on that team. So which changes things. Denmark, without Catherine Dufour and without Daniel Bachmann, were third with 214 points. So this is interesting. So Denmark was third with 214.544. US was fourth with 214.283. Cup. So, and that was, so that team consisted of Anna Merrick, Anna Buffini, Endel Otz, and Marcus Urlaub. So they didn't have Adrian and Stefan on that team. So, which it makes it extremely interesting, because you look at these results and these scores and you think, oh gosh, so how's that going to look then when you have the other riders on the teams? Very interesting. So now, go ahead.
Why do you think they do that? Like why did like Adrian and Stefan not participate? Or like it seems kind of like the really like the anchors of the teams weren't participating. Is that fair to say?
Well, because Adrian had gone to Hagen and Kronberg, done very well. Stefan was at Aachen, but he chose to do the 4-star instead. So I think it's, I think there's a lot of strategy involved in it. Do you want everybody to see all of the horses? Do you, so there's strategy, also consideration of the horses, like where are the horses right now? Do the horses, for example, like Jessica van Brendau got a bye with Delara because she's proven for sure. So that's nice, because Aachen was not that long ago, a week or so ago, and the Olympics are coming up soon. That's a lot for a horse. So I think each team had to look at every team member and horse and say, what's the best situation for them? I think for the US team to send the Endel and Marcus Endel, who ended up as the reserve, and Marcus on Jane, who ended up in the on the team, for their experience. It's like, okay, let's see what they're going to do in this kind of competition. And I bet you Aachen is probably more close atmosphere. The stadium is closer. It looks to me like in Paris, the stadium is a little further back and it's a little bit more open, or a little bit more space. Aachen is exciting, but very intense. And hats off to any horse that goes in that arena. And it's, and there's a lot, the audience it's like a rock concert, the audience goes crazy. So then you have, for example, Marcus with Jane. Jane is very young. I think she's 9. Marcus doesn't have that much experience with her. And that they went in and did the job they did is remarkable. And he's on the team, you know. Endel the same way. I mean, Endel hasn't shown Grand Prix until this year. He's shown a lot and done a lot of international things with younger horses. But my goodness, I'm just like in awe of these riders that go into that competition. Also, too, with horses that are new to them and doing the job they're doing. The whole U.S. team, Adrian with Helix, it's like an incredible job she's doing. Stefan, we can depend on. I mean, Stefan and Superasper are our anchor, but I think the U.S. team has really stayed strong. And it was very exciting. I talked to Christine Traurig, who is the chef de keep for the team, and she said she was so excited as to how Europe welcomed our team and how they were very, very encouraging. And they said that the team was very cohesive and motivated. And it's like for the future. So going passionately forward now to Paris, and then looking forward beyond Paris to LA. So I think that's a very, very positive signs. A little bit interesting too to see what's Team USA doing right now. How are they preparing? So I can kind of give you the schedule for that and what they're doing.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, like leading up, because oh my gosh, what are they doing now? And so July 22nd to the 26th is the final training gathering in, I'm not going to say this town correct. Julia's here and she would know how to say it, but it's Gros Rouvert in France. It's so wrong, I'm sure, but that's where they're training. And then July 26th is the Paris move-in day. I'm like so excited for them already. And then July 28th is the horse inspection. July 30th to 31st, Grand Prix. So the 2 days of the Grand Prix. And then August 3rd is the Grand Prix special, team final medals. Then following the competition, medal ceremony. August 4th is the second horse inspection. So they have an inspection again before the freestyle. And the Grand Prix freestyle then August 4th for the individual medal, followed by a medal ceremony. So exciting.
And then Betsy, how quickly after the competition do they fly home?
Good question. I think they stay there for a little bit and give the horses some downtime. But I would say, I'm guessing, I would say maybe a week or 10 days. But the horses just kind of relax.
Right, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a bit into the U.S. team, and we'll go to the international competitors as well. But so the U.S. team is Adrian Lyle and Helix, Marcus Orlob and Jane, Stefan Peters and Suppenkasper, and then the traveling reserve is Endel Otts and Bohemian. Right. Are you? I don't know. I don't know like what your thoughts are on this, but are there any?
Oops, I lost you. Oh.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My mic is
okay.
Has a mind of its own. I don't know where I got cut off, but I'm basically wondering if there are any like particular unique qualities or skills of these horses and riders. Like when you watch Adrian and Helix, is there something in particular that you're like, look out for like this? Or like, I mean, for any of these pairs, do they have like kind of a signature that like this is really their strength?
Well, I think with Adrian and Helix, that's been a relationship of getting to know each other, where she has done an incredible job. Every competition you see, she's learned more about the horse. The horse is gaining confidence in her. I mean, Piaffe and Passage is very good. Extensions, very good. Pirouettes, very good. Adrian is such a so precise and very good rider, and also really compassionate to her horse. So I think with her, because we don't know that combination long enough to say, okay, there's a signature move. I think between the two of them, they've really taken the time and done a very, very intelligent job of picking which shows to go to, where to get him out, how she can improve and move together with him and become a partnership. So I just think that's a really interesting, really good growing partnership. So I think
Super cool.
with Adrian, that's where that is. Marcus and Jane, I just think are amazing. I mean, that's again like a new partnership, but they seem to just click together. She's young. She is a little bit insecure. Like I think in Aachen, before she went in, there was a huge applause, and he was so good in keeping her quiet and calm. You could see there was some tension, and he was so steady with her. And I don't know, I just kind of felt his love for the horse, saying, I'm here, I'll take care of you. And she's extraordinary. I think, we're just seeing, she's a baby in there right now. And I think she's got most everything about her is good. Like her highlights, again, like her extensions, beautiful lateral work. I just think that's going to be a pair to really, really keep an eye on in the future. Stefan and Suppenkasper, of course, we know both of them. Stefan always has the most gorgeous half passes. I mean, I think he could give a master class if you watched his half pass. That's what a good half pass looks like. So I think we can depend on Stefan and Suppenkasper for really coming through and performing. Endel, Otz, and Bohemian as the alternates are also just like that's relationship. That's a thing where horse and rider, you look at the two of them and you think this horse and this rider were meant to be brought together. And Endel, I know that Endel is just so grateful for this horse. And so I texted him after the Grand Prix and said, Endel, that was amazing. And he said, well, I'm learning how to follow my dance partner. And I thought, what a great thing to say. And then in that kind of audience, that kind of crowd, that's pretty amazing. So when you look at the mental strength of these riders to come into competition with horses that they're not that familiar with, I so admire them. I think it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. I am so excited to watch these pairs go. And it
Oh,
really sounds like consistently across the board. It's like these riders are working their hardest to like support these horses in showing everything they could possibly show. And it's like, yeah, you're like, for Marcus, it's like making sure that she knows she's like calm and relaxed, and he's there as just like as her support system, and kind of sounds the same when you were talking about Endel. So it is really, I'm just excited to see them all go in the kind of their unique attributes. Betsy, we did get a question in chat and asking to just clarify, could you please repeat the explanation of how scores can be affected by repeating certain movements in the joker line during the freestyle? She said if someone is getting 6s on the pirouettes and shows an improvement by repeating them in the joker line, earning 8s, are the scores for the movements averaged?
Yes, they are. Yeah. Good question. Yeah, they're
That
average.
is a great question.
Yeah.
And
the joker line,
you.
The joker line is, I mean, the riders are very grateful for that because you can do anything. Mostly they use it for whatever didn't work, you can add in there. Generally the changes, but then they are averaged together. So if you made a mistake in the pirouette or in the changes, then you can try to make up a little bit for that.
Very cool. It's a lot of thinking on your feet, man. These people have to be just like so ready to like go. Like, what am I going to do next? It's like when I go in the dressage arena, my brain just goes blank, which is why I'm not that successful. Just one of those things. Okay. So on the kind of back to the topic of the teams, and this is both for, I guess this is just a general team question, but how, in your opinion, does the team dynamic impact the riders? Like how, like really, because they're used to, dressage riders are mostly used to riding as an individual, but what does the team dynamic kind of add to this atmosphere?
Team dynamic at the Olympics is everything. You feel like, honestly, like you feel like you're a part of a whole thing. I mean, a good team, like a really cohesive team, which we have, sticks together. They talk to each other about what's going on. They support each other. They watch the others ride. They will. They're there for each other, which is a completely different thing. Like for me, like I know when I was on the team, then I thought all of a sudden it was a complete different feeling, because it's like, whoa, wait, I'm not any longer just an individual. I have a responsibility to three other people and to a country. So you think three other people, then a country, and all the people who are supporting you in getting there. It's a huge responsibility, but it's also a wonderful feeling to be a part of that and to can contribute to it. So it's, if you contribute to a podium, you'll never forget that. So it's an incredible feeling. It's an incredible
Yeah.
feeling too at that sort of competition, to be, you're training, you're there with your coach, you're focused, you're thinking, and then all of a sudden, like in Stockholm, when I was on the team, we rode, which was years ago, we had a 10-minute sort of holding area where it was just you and your horse. Nobody could talk to you, nobody could touch you anymore and fix anything. And so there was 10 minutes, and it was like, oh, I'm here with my horse, and this is absolutely fabulous. You get your thoughts together, you focus. And then there we rode through a tunnel that was a tunnel, quiet again, and into the stadium. And that was amazing. That feeling I will never, ever forget, because you go into the stadium, and the stadiums now are much bigger, more audience, more everything. And you go in there and you think, okay, this is my moment, and then your horse feels it, and you feel him bounce right off the ground, think, oh, here I go. So it's an incredible thing to be on a team and represent your country and your teammates. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Do these teams, do they do things? I mean, maybe this is a silly question, but do they do like team building things? Is there any things where
Yeah.
it's like they're encouraged to like really dig deep as team members?
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of things that, and that's probably, according to whichever team and who's the chef and taking care. But yeah, a lot of things are together, and, being cohesive and knowing more about each other, supporting each other. So yeah, that's a good thing.
That's really
So,
cool.
well,
Go
and,
ahead.
an interesting thing is too, is like how is one, I just thought of this, how do you determine the order of go for the riders, and that is, the officials then draw, so they draw for the order of go for the teams. Then the teams, so then say if our team goes fourth, then the chef to keep in the riders would get together and say, okay, so we have three places, all three scores are going to count. I love your dog in the background there.
I know he's always causing problems in the background. I'm like, what is he
That's good.
grabbing? Like, I need to just ignore him.
I know, it's cute. I put mine away because I thought he'd be in the camera. Um,
Smart.
so so then so now say we have, say for example that we've drawn fourth as a team. That'd be a good place. So who's going to go first, second, and third? So on the first day, you want to come in with some power. The second day, you think, okay, so that's a horse that, we want to be steady, we want to be sure. And the last horse is going to bring it home. So you want the strategy in that. And then teams usually sit down together and say, okay, how are we going to do this? And then imagine if you're the last horse, and scores are like they were in Aachen, which they will be there. I mean, you look at that, not Great Britain wasn't even in Aachen. So then you think, okay, so now we bring in all of Great Britain, and that's going to change the whole dynamics. So, so it's very, very important. So that's how the Grand Prix is done. Then when they go to the special, they take top, they divide the class in half, and the lower scores, so say first to 15 or whatever, they draw again on those. So it's not according to score. So there's a draw. So maybe number 15 will go first, and so vice versa. It's mixed up. And then the second half, which makes it very exciting, will that's also drawn. So maybe one who won the Grand Prix might go in the middle of the class. So
And is everyone in agreement on what the best positions are for the draw, like where you want to land up or end up, or is that going to be like horse and rider specific is going to want something different to land differently in the draw?
So the draw is that's understanding your question right. The draw is done by the officials, and that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what's good news? Like when the draw happens.
Good news is not being first.
Okay. And then do you want to be in the middle? Do you want to be towards the end? What, like, kind of is good news the same for every horse and rider?
It's different, I think, probably I think in general, it's good to be in the middle towards the end. Because then, like if you're the first, I mean, imagine being the first few riders at the Olympics in the Grand Prix, and they have 6 riders to look at. You think, okay, so the beginning ones, like in regular horse shows, then the first couple, he's very cute. The first couple ones are going to be, the judges kind of get used to seeing the horses and getting their score. So I think that's going to be, you want to be a little bit later on. You don't want to be first for sure. Oh, he's really cute.
My gosh, he's needy on this Saturday morning. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I've heard from dressage judges that, like, I mean, it without, like, it's just a human thing that once you've seen 5 horses go, you're gonna be like, okay, like now your expectations are set. So not just your whole way that you're viewing the test changes. So yeah, being the first out would be really, it would be disappointing, but somebody's got to do it, which is hard. Like that is somebody, like somebody's got to take that. Yeah. And make the most of it.
Yeah. And if you're in there, I think Lottie Fry was in with Glamourdale, was it, in Aachen in the 4-star, and she was, I believe she was first in, or like very close to the first, and she won it. So there again, quality of horse and rider, but out of 60 horses, if you go in first, it's like, oh.
Yeah. You just have to be good enough where you're like, I don't care, I can go anywhere in the order and I'm gonna win.
Yeah. Let me set the standard.
Right, totally. I love that. That's a good transition point to talk about, like, the international competitors. And you mentioned kind of where the results ended at Aachen, and that's a good indicator of kind of who the really competitive countries are going to be here. But what's your thought? Like, who are you going to be expecting to end on the podium as far as the team competition?
Well, like, I absolutely love Delara and Jessica. And I think, and it's that whole package of team, harmony, beauty, elegance, understanding, love between the two of them. And I just think she is for sure number one right today, right now. And hopefully, hopefully she's on the podium. I would be surprised if she wasn't. So that's my love right there. Not that I don't think the rest of them are awesome and great. Glamourdale, you look at that with Lottie Fry. I mean, what a dynamic, amazing pair they are. And also beautiful and strong and, sports. And I mean, really good. You have Wendy with Isabel. That's an amazing combination. So, there again, like you look at top, and horses capable. Their scores are probably going to be in the 80s. We've seen those horses go into the freestyle with 90. So that's a high standard. Catherine Hemmer with Denox, Deno, I'm not saying his name right, but that's an amazing pair. They're from the Piaf on that horse is quite incredible. Like every joint moving and just beautiful. There's so many highlights from different horses that you think, oh my goodness, look at this one does this amazing. And so they're incredible to watch. Digna Learn with Vita de Lusa, also incredible. Nana with Blue Horse, St. Shufro, Patrick Kittle in Touchdown. Again, I'm rooting for the Maxima Bella from Poland. I think that mare is great. Julio also too with Gold Strike, but they're just, I mean, that's it, naming a few. There's so many fantastic ones, and then it's going to be interesting to see if ones that maybe are not right in this top group, if they come all of a sudden and peak at the Olympics, and all of a sudden you go, whoa, look at this. So I mean, I can't remember an Olympics where we've had so many extraordinary top level horses all together, and they just keep getting better. So I mean, it's worth getting up really early in the morning to watch.
Yeah, and it's cool that we're having such strong competitors at such an amazing venue. It
Oh,
really it is gonna be such a joy to watch. So for kind of you named some of the individuals that you're really like you're gonna look out for. As far as the teams, are you which like Germany, the UK, US, like where do you how are you predicting these things kind of pan out?
well, I think, looking at the team from the UK, that's a strong team. That's a strong team. So they're going to be, I'm sure, in contention. Germany, of course. I mean, also super strong. Um, then you've got Holland, the Dutch team, really strong. Then Denmark. Denmark is going to be strong. There's and I think, let's see, yeah, Holland, Sweden. So I think like tops are going to be Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, Great Britain. Hopefully we kick butt and get in there. But I think those teams, the way it's looking right now with their scores, I think it's going to be pretty close with those. Again, there could be any kind of, I hope I'm not leaving somebody out, that there's just so many good ones,
Yeah.
So,
I
but
mean, it's
definitely,
anybody's guess. Like it
it's anybody's guess. Yeah. And who knows I mean, anything can happen. There's still a while till the games. You never know for sure. Um,
totally.
but right
And
now those are looking strong.
absolutely. And are those is the structure with the three team members who score all get counted and then the one traveling reserve, was that the case of the last Olympics as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
I
not
can't
our first
remember.
time doing that.
Yeah, it's not the first time. I can't remember which one, at what Olympics they changed that, because I know there used to be 4 riders, and then they would drop the one score. It wasn't that long
Yeah.
ago, but I
Yeah,
can't be
because
sure.
I feel like this last one might have been the first time that we did that, but I don't know for sure. It might have been the one
In
before that,
Tokyo,
but
yeah,
it was recent. And
yeah.
um how often in the dressage competition, I mean it gets hard to know, but how often in the dressage competition are those traveling reserves getting tapped? Is that a frequent thing?
No, no, it's not. It's I can't remember when we've had a US alternate go. I think everybody's on has been the actual team member. So,
That makes
but
sense. Yeah. Yeah, you touched on that a bit at the beginning, and it's like that traveling reserve role is so unique. Like they have all
yeah,
of the anticipation, they have to do all the preparation, they have to protect, they have to operate as if they're going in that arena, and then
right.
it's just it comes down to the day of being like, okay, is it happening or not? And it's like, oh man, I have so much like compassion for the emotions that those people are going
Yeah,
through.
yeah. I know, just that's the thing is like if you put yourself in their shoes, like anyone right now, um, going into this, it's like, okay, how do we best prepare? And I think there again, it comes to the mental training again, because anybody going there has a good Grand Prix horse, great Grand Prix horse. They've all had experience now. They've gone through a lot to get there. So now's the time to just kind of and kind of come into your quiet place and really mentally prepare and keep your horse as happy as possible. A lot of times people will say that for horse, it's another horse show. This is not another horse show. Aachen's not another horse show because of to my thinking anyhow, because of your environment, the energy and the atmosphere. Horses feel that. They're so sensitive to that. So it's just another horse show, to me, is really underestimating the intelligence of our horses, because I think they feel that just as much. And that's the one thing I love seeing Delara, and not just her, like those top horses, all of them being top horses, but when you see how they are fierce and they're ready for competition and they want to do it, then you think, oh my gosh, how much we have to respect them as an equal athlete, because it's like, how do they feel today? What are they doing? Where are their thoughts when you take them out? The nice thing is that they get to have the horses out to the arena, they get to see it. So it's not a surprise for them. But how do they feel in that arena? How do they feel in that footing? How are they that day?
Yeah. And Betsy, are any of these horse and rider pairs or teams in general, are they going to be holding back at all at the Grand Prix? Are they going to be like are they going to, because you just need a qualifying score, or is everybody just like give it your all on every time they go in the arena at the Olympics?
See, well, that's a super question, because I think there again, it depends on strategy. So if you can have a solid score by staying pretty neutral, pretty quiet. I mean, go for it, but not full out. Then, and if you think if you've scored in the sort of relationship to being in that top group, then a person might say, I'm going to be a little bit safe. Maybe I'm not going to go as powerful as I can in that extension. Going to hold back just a little bit so I can get into the special. So that's now for ones that don't have the scores at the top, it'd be worth it to say, I'm going full out. This is my chance. I'm going for it. So the strategy
Absolutely.
in there is important.
Absolutely. We got
Yeah.
another great question in chat, and it's how much dialogue is there between the FEI and the media who will be televising the events to ensure for good coverage and good public understanding of the event?
I think you can Clip My Horse does not cover it. I think the only way you can see the Olympics is on Peacock, which now I'm going to sound like an advertisement for them, but I think you can get a 30-day free trial, which would be worth it to see it. And then there are, so I sent so we have, I don't know if you can see, but here are, whoops, here's, you can't really see it, but there's the Paris Olympic schedule. And so the dressage on the 30th starts at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 31st, you have to get up an hour earlier because that's then at 4 a.m. Eastern Time. special is on the 3rd, August 3rd at 4 a.m. And the freestyle is at 4 a.m. on August 4th. So, and you can see that all, from my understanding, you can see that all on Peacock. But the Olympics is, you know, they hold the rights to all of that. Also, too, very interesting, if you have a sponsor, for example, you ride in Prestige saddles, they can't advertise. So it's like there's no sponsors. So you can't, it's the Olympics. So it's the Olympics and that's it. So it's no sponsorship from anybody else. Oop.
Sorry, I'm just trying to share my screen with that schedule.
Oh,
But that is really interesting about the sponsorship limitation. And it makes, I
yeah,
mean, I guess it makes sense because you're on this like hugely televised program. Let's see if you can see
right.
this. Is that, can you see the screen?
Good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so here you have the schedule for the eventing, the dressage, and the jumping competitions, and the times, which, I mean, for all of these, just buckle up and be prepared to wake up early if you want to see the first rider in the arena. Betsy, are you going to be waking up at 4 a.m. to watch these?
I am, but and the thing is like I'm very honored to be one of the chef de keeps at the North American Young Riders Championships. So I'll be there in Traverse City. I leave on the 28th, so so I'll be able to watch the opening ceremonies at home. But then I will be up all of that, and then going out for the Young Riders, and there'll be big discussions and all of that. Hopefully, too, they can, at the Young Riders, I'm hoping that they can televise it and put up big screens. So, because that's so exciting to see that, huh?
That's really cool that those competitions are going on at the same time. So it's kind of like you
Yeah.
can, I mean, there's everybody's in one place and getting to feel all the excitement of both the Olympics
Oh,
and Young Riders. So I love that.
yes.
That'll be great.
Huge
Well,
inspiration for the Young Riders.
totally something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I mean, Young Riders in a lot of ways feels like the Olympics for those riders, which is really, really cool. Betsy, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all your expertise on this topic. I know I am getting just so excited to watch the competition and see how everybody does. And I'm excited to go into it now with more knowledge of how it all works, because it really does help you appreciate what's going on. Is there anything else related to the Olympics that you want to share before we call it a day here?
I don't, I just think it's like the whole Olympic idea, sort of to me, it's like the world stands still and people are into that. The world becomes one. It's peaceful. Athletes show, I mean, the athleticism at that top of every sport like that. You look at these individuals who have given their life and their time, their training, everything to be there, and nations come together, and you forget about world problems and you think about world peace. That sounds a little bit corny, but honestly, for me, it's like we stand still and we look at quality and training and humanity and peace among people, and people talking, like at the Olympics, people, different nations trade pins and they talk together, and it's like they encourage each other. Olympics is something extraordinary and something special, and I think we can't lose sight of what that means on not just an athletic level, but on a level of humanity and who we are. To me, that's huge. So, and also to, like, when you look at not just the equestrians, but when you look at some of the other sports, like I look at Simone Biles and think, oh my goodness, what a role model she is for every determination and finding yourself. She's been very open about her struggles and shown okay, how she's overcome that, and that she's helped many, many people in those ways. So being an Olympic athlete means you are a role model, and it means that you have to, you bring that forward and you share that. And I think the athletes that we have do that, and I'm just proud to watch them and cheer for them.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said all of that, because it is important to remember like what the value of this competition is for
Yeah.
the world, and kind of what it means
Right.
to everybody, and what a
Mhm.
huge impact it can have beyond just the medals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it is really, really just an exciting time of exciting time of like athleticism in the world.
Yeah.
But Betsy, thank you again, and we would love to have you on again to talk more about just your general expertise related to dressage. So we will reach out for that, and then just have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the Olympics.
Thanks, you too. Bye, guys.